You are listening to another AlwaysMoto production. The AlwaysMoto podcast with your host, David Hogan. This show contains information about injuries to riders competing in AMA Supercross, AMA Motocross, MXGP, Oz Pro MX, and other international moto events. The information discussed may be unsettling to some listeners. It might be incomplete or based on medical opinions due to riders tending to hide the details of their injuries. We are here to explain the information and increase injury understanding and visibility for the fans. There might be coarse language and the odd stuff up along the way. If any of this offends you, turn us off right now.
I'd like to remind you that he is not a doctor.
That's right, Moto fans. I'm not a doctor, but I am a physiotherapist, and this is not the AlwaysMoto podcast. This is the post-race interviews we did at the World Supercross event in Melbourne last night. After the event in the pits, it was a bit of a wild time, trying to catch up with all the guys from the team and all the girls from the teams as to what was going on for their nights, how it all played out, what they thought of the series for this pilot series that they put together for World Supercross this year, and what they had plans for coming up for 2023, whether it was AMA or World Supercross. So it was a good time. We've got some good interviews here. We were also there when Justin and Vince were having a bit of an interesting time put together about how that last race went down. So we got an interview with Justin just before all that sort of stuff happened, which was he's obviously not happy with how things were going there, but that's racing sometimes, unfortunately, and you'll hear from Justin himself about that. We did also try and get an interview, or we did get an interview with Cole Seeley, but I haven't included that here. Unfortunately, for some reason, the audio has sounded like I'm a robot, and Cole's a robot, and as much as I've tried to clean that up, it's not good enough quality, and I didn't want to put it out there. So unfortunately, we've missed out on Cole's interview, but he did talk about the fact that he is looking to come back and do World Supercross, and that he has had some pretty cool offers for 250 West Coast as well from some big name teams. He didn't mention any of the teams specifically, but he did mention that he had offers, but he wasn't overly concerned with either of those. He said he would rather ride for MCR, which was something he said he was still potentially looking at doing. He just hadn't decided at this stage. So sucks that we couldn't get that interview to you guys. Like I said, the audio quality just was absolute shit, and I'm not sure what happened there, but we'll work on that. Also, you might hear me in my voice. My voice doesn't sound so fantastic this morning. It's a bit raspy, and that's partly from last night as well, and you'll hear that through the interviews. We're yelling quite a bit to get over the top of the sounds of all the teams trying to clean up and pack up. They were obviously trying to put all the bikes back in crates, and there was plenty of pressure washer and air compressors and the occasional bike hitting a valve, hitting and valve bouncing at some point. So I've filtered all that out as best I can, but unfortunately the voice doesn't sound fantastic, so you'll have to excuse me for that aspect of it. But there's some cool interviews here. Have a listen, and we'll try and get some more of that sort of content for you in future when we're at some of these more events moving forward. Thanks for listening to the AlwaysMoto podcast.
All right, we're here with Henry Miller, Rick Ware Racing after Melbourne Supercross. How was the night tonight?
It went a lot better than my first round at Cardiff. Happy with the progress that I've made in the last week, but not happy with the way that I started in the back every race and worked my way forward. So, a lot of progress, enjoyed it all, and learned a lot. So, looking forward to going home and working towards the U.S. Supercross.
The starts seem really important in these World Supercross rounds with these short formats. It was a bit mayhem out there if you didn't get the start get up to the front at the beginning.
Oh yeah, we had a little bit of a bike issue in the first two, and I was stuck in start map. So for the whole two races, so it made it difficult the first two starts, and then the third one just a lot more power than I was used to without having that start map. So all 3 starts were shot right off the bat, and I just knew I had to put my head down and go to work.
That's rough if that's so stuck in the start map for the rest of the race.
Yeah, so like when I fall to a certain RPM, it would kind of like, the second injector would shut off, so it was kind of like doggy, and then it would pick up when that injector kicked in.
So dangerous.
Yes and no. Once I figured it out, it wasn't bad.
Okay, yeah, but still not probably the best way to go racing.
Definitely not ideal, but we made it happen and we made it work.
So was this overall World Supercross experience worthwhile?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, when you get an opportunity like this, you got to take it and enjoy every minute of the ride and just take it as it comes, and you know, just do what you can with it and try to get through them. You know, those 3 races, they're tricky, and it's a battle out there with the guys.
It's over super quick too.
Yeah, very quick. Like US, our races are a lot longer. These are sprints. This reminds me of arena cross.
Yeah, it's probably more in that format wise. The tracks are obviously a bit bigger, but they're still not that long compared to the AMA tracks.
They're real easy compared to our tracks back home. Not very technical. Small whoops. Just you know, a lot of 90s. We're using a lot of 180s and big rhythms.
Yeah, true. The berms are a lot smaller here.
Yeah. The berms, the jumps. It's all spaced out quite a bit.
So looking forward to next year. Are we trying to get back here and doing more World Supercross, or are we just looking at AMA rounds for now?
You know, that'd be the goal. I would love to do it. I'd love to have the opportunity to come back and race for Rick Ware Racing would be awesome. I would really appreciate to be able to have the opportunity to do it. But we got to work out details and kind of see how things fall. And you know, I would love to do it. It's an awesome experience and just really cool to travel the world and ride a dirt bike. How many people do that?
Yeah, that's a pretty cool aspect of it, and I gather you probably enjoyed the touristy things you did in the few days before the race.
Oh yeah, it's cool to come to different countries and kind of see, like we went to the sanctuary and see the koalas and the kangaroos. We don't have those back home.
I knew you guys were going to get lots of koala and kangaroo photos, honestly.
Oh yeah, 100%. We were the only team that went out and did that, so it was really cool to be able to do that.
Yeah, nice. All right, so, and what do you have? You have anything lined up for the AMA stuff at this stage?
Yeah, as of right now, so I'm going to run East Coast under Ty Lube Honda and kind of do my own thing with a little bit of their help for West Coast, do some rounds here and there, and see how it goes.
Okay, well, it's good you've got something in the works. So, but yeah, obviously it's a bit early to confirm anything with World Supercross at this stage.
Yeah, we got quite a while until that fires back up.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Well, we're here with Kelley, riding for the Pipes Motorsport Group at World Supercross. Here for the Melbourne round. A bit of a travel to get here, and then a bit of a bumpy night, let's say.
No, yeah, it wasn't my greatest night. I'd like to have a couple instances back, but I'm coming out of here healthy, so you got to look on the bright side.
Yeah, and obviously they're doing a short series, and you probably got more important things, or at least for next year, at least with a longer, more established series. You want to get to that, but hitting healthy.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to do this just to kind of see the experience. I've never traveled out of the country to race, and it just keeps me sharp. I like the racing, and the more I race, the sharper I stay. So I'm just happy to make it out healthy. Like that would be the biggest thing. Come out here and then get hurt, then I'm behind the 8 ball coming into A1. So
that makes it difficult if that was the case. But so talk about your races tonight. There was a few bad starts and then bumping around with a few guys. Like it seemed like it was really crazy out there, especially in that SX2 class.
Definitely, yeah. Everybody is so close with speed, and the races are so short. So you kind of have to. It puts you in a position, and the way they build the track, it puts you in a position to where you kind of have to make things happen in a sense, and it gets a little hairy at times. You just can't keep it in your control. Like I was talking to you earlier, the track just, you have to cut the insides, you can't flow the outsides, and it just makes you ride tight. And not only are you bumping into other riders, you're making mistakes on your own because you can't ride your own race.
Yeah, we were saying before about the berms being very small, and that sort of influenced how people were cornering and then obviously running into each other. So is that the main thing you think would be an improvement to the tracks?
Yeah, I think they made the berm so small to where if you're within 3 bike lengths of somebody, you can catch up to them and cut their front wheel off. So I think if they make the berms wider and the jumps a little bit closer to the corner, it'll promote a little bit more technical racing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. And that was one interesting point you made when we were talking before about the jumps finishing a long way from the corner, and especially the whoops. You're saying that you can actually brake after the whoop section before the corner, whereas in America you're in the corner off the last whoop and that's it. There's no chance to brake.
Yeah, so the whoops this weekend, they had a landing pad. You could land a plane after the whoops before the corner. So it just makes you're able to go through the whoops fast and still make the inside. So that makes the outside useless to take. You're never going to come out there, no matter how fast you're at the whoops. So it's just they need to learn. They're going to learn. Obviously, I think they wanted to have close racing, but they went so far in the wrong direction. It just ended up hurting a lot of people and costing a lot of people their race, and just off of things that is out of their control.
Yeah, I don't know what they were trying to do with the tracks, but they were sort of a simple layout, and obviously the berms were small, and like you said, the obstacles weren't close together, I guess, towards the corners. So you wonder if that was a strategic move from the beginning to sort of keep things close, or at least be simple and not hurt people. But I think the not hurt people sort of didn't work either, because they got hurt in other ways. Yeah. And obviously, like we're talking with the MDK guys at different times, they've had a lot of injuries over these 2 rounds. Like, it didn't really work in that sense either.
For sure, yeah. It's a similar thing. Like you'd think that having a simpler track would be safer, but it just means that everybody goes so fast and pushes the limits because the margins are so much closer, and like from 20th to first is under 2.5 seconds. Like you just have to push the envelope in places where a technical track will make the racing spread out a little bit more, so you don't have to ride over your head. And it's similar. Like I raced amateur supercross back when I was getting my license, and the tracks were super tame, but it promoted, you had to twist it, like where normally if the section was big you would kind of be technical and you would kind of like feel it out, where it was super beat down and then you'd just be wide open, and a little kick or a little rock, you can still hit the deck no matter how simple the track is, and at those higher speeds it's going to be a lot uglier than a technical track where
the speed makes it worse.
Exactly. That's where the injuries come from. If you hit the ground going 2 miles an hour, it's going to hurt a lot less than hitting the ground at 40. So
yeah, I think everyone can understand that point. Yeah.
Exactly. Like just because the track's simple doesn't mean it's safe. It just means everybody's going to be twisting the gas a whole lot harder.
Yeah, definitely. So overall, are you happy you did the World Supercross Series?
For sure. I've like I said, I'd never had a chance to race out of the U.S. and it's awesome. Like I think it's a really good thing that these guys are bringing competition to the AMA and the FIM, or to Feld and all those guys, because they've gotten too comfortable for too long. And if these guys start taking their riders, it just breeds. It's like competition breeds greatness. So I think more options for more riders to make more money. Like I think it's going to be a good thing.
Yeah, that's definitely a good thing. More rides, basically, and more jobs all around the industry. Like there's heaps of people here, mechanics, team managers, all that sort of stuff's making more industry growth.
Yeah, and there's going to be more chances for kids growing up. Like you see the KTM Challenge. Like realistically, in the last few years, there's not really a future for more than 5 to 10 people. So if there's another series that's paying well and there's 40 guys making a paycheck, that's just going to up the level for both series.
Definitely, yeah. So what about you? What's next for yourself? What if you got a ride ready for AMA? Are you coming back to World Supercross next year? What's your plans?
I'm definitely working out the details. I think the plan is to stick with the AMA and kind of the thing I got going on now. I want to, obviously it's my dream to race in America and have a factory ride, so I'm going to grind it out in the 250 class, and we'll see where that brings us. And then I think this is going to be a successful series, so maybe during, like sometime in the future I'll come to this, but right now I'm going to stay with the AMA.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, look, you never know, but yeah, you've got a plan of what you want to go for.
Yeah, it's never in stone. So, and especially nowadays, there was 4 different rides that I was talking to in teams, and then 3 weeks before the thing, I was like, oh, I'm not gonna do it this year. I'll just put it off. And then I got a call, and I'm like, I might as well. So,
you just don't know, and especially with these fill-in requirements that they're going to have with getting fined for not having riders, it's going to open up doors for some random times to have one ride, maybe even. So.
Exactly. I think, especially if they don't figure out how to make it a little bit safer in terms of slowing down the racing, I think there's going to be a lot of dudes getting hurt in 11 rounds. So I think they're going to be calling a lot of people that normally wouldn't be getting the call.
Yeah, you're not wrong, and it could be some really interesting people lining up at the gate for World Supercross.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the time. Great to see you in Australia, and hopefully we see you again maybe next year.
Thank you.
All right, we're here with Grant Harlan from Club MX, Yamaha, and for the World Supercross here in Melbourne. It's been a interesting night for you. How would you say things went for you?
Definitely better than Cardiff did. Rode pretty well through the mains. I think I went 12, 8, or 15, 8, 12, so not bad, not great, but happy to be getting out of here healthy.
Yeah, that's been the common theme from the couple of people I've done so far, but that's a reasonable night for you, like I said, compared to Cardiff, so something to work on and something that you can actually say that it was a good result to try and get something for next time.
Yeah, like I think 15 guys finished the third main, so, with how chaotic the racing is, things get pretty hectic. So like I said, walking away from this healthy is a good thing, and it was a pretty big learning experience for me being the first, not the first race, but, first series in the 450 Supercross class. So, yeah, I'm happy with it.
It was, you say it's chaotic, but, there was people going down in sort of odd spots and just not finishing. There was a couple more flat tyres tonight, which was odd that it was... You don't really see that in the AMA rounds, flat tyres, and then we've had a whole stack in this round and the Cardiff round. It was just an odd sort of scenario for not finishing.
Yeah, on Track Walk Friday that we, found a couple things in the dirt, which, isn't uncommon sometimes with these events, but that might be a little bit of it. And then with the chaotic racing, it's a tighter track, so to make a pass, you kind of have to run it in on a guy, which I think that second main I got 8. There was a 4 or 5 guy pile up in the second corner. So, I think even in the first main, somebody went down in front of me. They were passing me, and they got passed really aggressively, and they went down, or they both went down together. So, yeah, it's tight.
The starts seem to have a lot more chaos too. Was that not as open or something from the US tracks to get around that first corner?
I think with the U.S. tracks, with having slightly bigger floors, you can kind of get a little bit longer section off the start. With this track in Cardiff, Cardiff, the start straight was really short, but we go down the start straight, make a left, and then there's one tiny jump, and then another corner, and then Supercross triple. So it's everyone bunches up, and there's no room to open up through a section.
Yeah, I don't know what was happening with those starts, but I don't know if you saw, but Freddie Noren went down really early, and so did A-Ray. It was just odd to see that sort of happening straight away and not enough space. But yeah, I don't know. It's a weird sort of scenario there for everybody, but it wasn't working out too well.
Yeah, was talking to Cade earlier, and he kind of had the idea that maybe throw the Supercross triple in that middle spot between the 290s. Yeah. Because, there's not a whole lot of options you can do for a rhythm section, but, you see it out of a lot of AMA tracks where they, right, Supercross triple, right, and then those long lanes you can use for full rhythm sections and whoops and stuff, which I think creates more passing lanes.
Get some separation at that point too. Yeah. But you said also about the floor space. I feel like they didn't use much of it here. There was extra stuff left over that they could have used, and they can pull that lower section of the stadium there along the sides back further. And I feel like they missed an opportunity to put more dirt down or something.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with this whole series because they still had to do the Australian Supercross yesterday, so the track design and layout could have had something to do with that. And on top of the fact that maybe they kept it a little simpler for this 2-race series to kind of as a learning experience.
Get everyone through.
Yeah, you don't want everyone going down. At Cardiff, most guys got through. I think the only guys that got hurt were bike failures. So
yeah, that was odd too.
Yeah, so having these short times between races and having to have guys on the gate for each team, it's tough to have a really gnarly track, because guys do get hurt. It's part of the sport. So maybe the mellow track is just to keep guys in the series and keep, especially the big names. Reed going out sucks because, he brings in a crowd, especially for a round like this.
Well, for the Australian round, definitely, yeah. So what about yourself? What's next for Grant Harlan?
Gonna fly back home to Texas and start working on AMA Supercross 23.
And ride-wise, do we know yet what you're doing?
No ride, just own program for the year. So looking to put that together and finalize a couple more things and get going.
Fair enough. All right. Well, good luck. Thanks for coming down to Australia. It's nice to have you make the trek. It's a bit of a way, but yeah, we appreciate you coming down.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
Yeah, thank you. All right, we're here with Mitchell Oldenburg from MCR. We're here for the World Supercross in Melbourne. Just want to see how the night went for you.
It was a bit chaotic, rough. I started off with a great heat race. I got into the lead after the end of lap 1 or something and won that. And then just the mains, I just didn't get the whole shot. Basically, I got good starts, but not good enough. So got bounced around, pushed off the track the first main. Second main was okay. And then the last main got pushed off the track, almost sent the triple off the side of the track. It was, a little chaotic, but we're safe, we're healthy. Learned a lot in these 2 races, and looking forward to making it better for next year.
The starts on these 2 tracks, and especially in the SX2 class, being the shorter race, seems super duper important.
Yeah, very important. I knew that coming here. I executed my starts in Cardiff, and I think I was just a little bit too far inside tonight. So, live and learn. We'll just keep working, and excited for next year.
So you are going to come back and do these when the extended series goes and with MCR again?
Yep. So I'm signed with them for 250 West Coast and then World Supercross here next year on the 250. So yeah.
Nice to have things secured.
Yeah, for sure. It's a crazy sport, and you're kind of going year to year or 2 years if you're lucky, you get 2-year deals. And I found a good family with MCR, and I'm really excited to continue working with them. Mike Genova and Tony have been amazing to me, and just blessed to be in a part of this group.
Yeah, nice. They seem to look after the guys when they're, obviously putting in the work and showing promise. They'll tend to keep you around.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just a kid trying to live his dream, right? And I work hard, and I get along with Mike and Tony really well, and we work well together. So, yeah, just happy to be here. Blessed to be working with them, and excited for the future.
Awesome. So what's next? Are you flying home soon and then straight into boot camp or something like that? How long of a gap have you got?
Yeah, so I fly home tomorrow. I'll probably take this week off and then kind of just take it easy the next couple weeks. With these races, we kind of got started early on our Supercross prep, so I'm going to take some time off, and not a ton of time off, but kind of just maintenance for the next couple weeks. And then I normally do a boot camp from Thanksgiving to Christmas where it's kind of hammer time. So get ready for Anaheim 1, and man, I really want to do some damage. I had a really good year last year. The bike's amazing. We're going to do a little bit of testing. We got some stuff to try to make it a little bit better, and I'm ready to go fight in the West Coast.
You definitely had speed. Like Cardiff, I think if other than that second race, you had it. It was your night, and you had it again here in the heat races. Just the starts were nuts, and the whole SX2 class just seemed like a crazy night from everyone I've spoken to so far. So you definitely got the chance to do some good results next year.
Yeah, for sure. I put a lot of focus on starts the last couple months, and my starts are good. Don't get me wrong. I think if I would have been a couple gates outside or a little bit further outside on the start, I would have been pulling hole shots. So live and learn. I'm trying to keep the momentum rolling. We had a good Supercross season back home, good off season, a good couple races here. Just kind of keep the ball rolling, and then stick to the plan, and we'll get where we want to be. It's just going to take a little bit of time, and I'm not afraid to work hard. So, yeah.
Do you think that consistency is coming with the fact that you've been healthy for a while now?
100%. That's it took me a long time to figure that out, and it's embarrassing, honestly, because, I mean, taking a 15th on the night compared to ending up on the couch for 6 to 8 weeks is a huge difference. So take what's given to you, and if it's not there that night, just take it on the chin and go home and get back to work, because sitting on the couch, you're not getting any better. And yeah, I just wish I would have been smart enough to figure that out a couple of years ago. So
do you think that's just age too?
Age and honestly kids.
Yeah, I can vouch for that too.
Yeah, my kids have they've changed my life a lot, and for the better. And just the nerves and stuff that come with racing. It's crazy. I haven't struggled with nerves that bad until I had kids, and now it's real. You know, it's just a crazy thing we do.
It's a different perspective to take home and then to come back from that too as well. So yeah, it's a whole different scenario. But no, look, interesting series. Are you glad you did it? Basically, just sign up for the first one.
Yeah, 100%. I think they got a good concept and a good plan for going forward. I hope it works out, and I really enjoyed myself. So hopefully we just keep building with the series every year and see what happens. I mean, it's been good. It gives us another opportunity to make a living and pay our bills, so I can't complain.
No, I think that's the best part of this is it's giving more jobs to more people, not just riders, but industry as well, mechanics and team support and all that sort of stuff. So I think it's worthwhile.
Yeah, 100%. This is it's a cutthroat sport, and I think people on the outside don't understand that. You know, small injuries can put you out of a job and out of a career at the end of the day. So I think it's good. I think it's growing. Obviously, there's hiccups. It's the first couple of races they've done. There's some things that need to be ironed out, but I think everyone knew that coming in, and I think it's gonna be really good here in a couple of years.
I think so too. Yeah, awesome. Appreciate the time tonight, man. Hope to see you back next year.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, we're here with Justin Brayton from MCR after the Melbourne round here in World Supercross. Bit of an interesting night for you. Maybe not how you'd hoped after last night winning with the Aussie round, but all the same, probably all good. Working the way through the 2 rounds of the series.
Yeah, the series has been awesome. Unfortunately, you know, the last race was obviously a bummer, but you got to expect that from Vince. He rides like that, always has, always will, and but yeah, just a bummer that had to end like that. Probably could have won that championship, but yeah, it is what it is, and life goes on, and excited to start the way we did last night with the Aussie stuff and keep that red plate on my bike. So yeah, all good, and yeah, kind of take this week off, hang out in Australia, and then we'll race Adelaide next weekend.
Yeah, so you got some time here, obviously, for the next few days before the Adelaide round. So just a bit of sightseeing for you.
Yeah, I may ride a couple days, hopefully, depending on the weather. But yeah, we'll go from there. We'll see how it ends up, but yeah, maybe a day or 2 of riding would be great.
Is there much recovery needed? Like, you've had 2 nights in a row now. Is there much you're going to do tomorrow as a recovery, or just literally go to the pool or something like that?
Nah, not much. Really no need for recovery. It's kind of what we train for, so it's all good.
Yep. So just straight back into it, really. Normal training load on Monday, I gather, and add a bit of sightseeing as well.
Yeah. I love Australia. Obviously, I have a lot of friends here, so yeah, excited to be back down here. Not going to stay here near as long as we did in the past, but yeah, going to enjoy the week and maybe have a ride or 2 and fly over to Adelaide probably Thursday or Friday.
And so the Aussie rounds coming up for you, like you've done them before. I don't know if you've been to the Adelaide rounds as such before, but is there anything in particular like you like about them being, probably a little bit smaller and a bit closer to the crowd and all that sort of stuff? Or
yeah, Adelaide at Wayville, it's one of my favorites. I raced there in 2016, and yeah, it was a really awesome event, an awesome race. So excited to go down there again and do some racing, and yeah, hopefully keep this streak alive.
And are you doing Paris in all this as well, or not this year?
No, I don't think doing Paris, travel schedule would be extra hectic if I did that.
You have done that sort of travel in the past, but...
Yeah, I definitely have done that. Not opposed to it, but at this point we're not planning on doing that.
And so what's the plans for next year for you? Like, obviously the AMA side of things you said you're retiring from, but World Supercross, is that in the cards with MCR next year?
Definitely World Supercross is in the card. I'm not sure. I don't have a contract with anybody. Obviously, I really enjoy this motorcycle.
Yeah.
But when you have teammates that take you out and intentionally take you out, and not a fan of that. Offer guys compensation to take you out. It's like, yeah,
didn't need to find that out after all the events. I gather it's probably a bit salty for you.
Yeah, it's just crazy. It's unbelievable. But love Mike Genova, love Tony Alessi, love working with them. But yeah, when you're on a team you have a teammate like that, you just
frustrating.
Yeah, for sure, frustrating.
All right, well, look, man, thanks for coming down to Australia again. As always, you've been here regularly, but it's nice to have you here, and hopefully the rest of the Aussie rounds go well for you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.